welcome to part 2 of the China travel vlog. So last video we left you with an impression of Wuxi that wasn't really complete. It was grey and cold and foggy, and if you opened your curtains, you couldn't see meters ahead of you. You saw a wall of white. Open the heavy curtains and that's what I see. Nothing. But thankfully that wasn't always the case. There were better days where you could see the whole clear skyline of Wuxi. Let's check it out. And good morning in Wuxi again. This time it's a clearer day. The fog has lifted and now we can really see what the city looks like. Over there is Taihu Square. This is Wuxi's Central Park. There's the river cutting the city in half. And this is the view from the 27th floor of the Intercontinental Hotel. Alright, so the view is great, the city looks good, but we already talked about those things in the last one. Let's make this one about the food. So at my workplace in China, we didn't have a canteen in the building, so we used to have to drive about 10 minutes to go to a community lunch hall. Which was incredible because there was so much activity, especially from 12 to 1 o'clock, the lunchtime there, where you could get a whole meal for about 20 to 25 yuan, depending on how many side dishes you wanted. And what most people went for was a dish with a serving of rice, quite a heavy serving of rice, and 3 or 4 side dishes. But then, after a while of having the same thing every day, the buffet philosophy comes into play. Doesn't matter how many options you have on the table, if you keep having those same options every day, you get kind of bored. So thankfully there was also a separate noodle station in that area. It was the standout dish for me. I don't know to this day what was in that dish. A bit of scallion, a ton of red chili paste or oil, and just overall goodness. Some peanut crumble on top, peanut powder. Of course I wanted some meat to go with it. And my colleague suggested what he called a Chinese burger. I don't know what it's called, but it was delicious. I mean, it was kind of oily, but they gave it in a separate paper packet. And it was just chopped up meat with some seasoning in there in some sort of pita bun, freshly heated up. Just crispy enough on the outside and like buttery soft on the inside and fluffy. But of course, I wasn't going to leave China having tried no more than just office lunches. So one of the specialities that I did get the chance to try was the squirrel-shaped fish. This was very unique. I had heard a lot about this before coming to China, and what it is a whole fish it's white fish that's deep fried, and then parts of its flesh are shaped in these sharp cylinders, let's say, on its body, so you can just pick them up with your chopsticks very easily in bite-sized pieces. This was great. There was a bit of sweet and sour sauce on it. It was hot sauce that was poured on it, so it was sizzling when it came to the table. Another Wuxi specialty that you hear a lot about is Wuxi Paigu, which is ribs, I believe, pork ribs, short ribs, and these are sweet, extremely sweet. I think the culture of cuisine in Wuxi is very sweet oriented. There's been a lot of research on why that is, and the best I could find while talking to people and on the internet is that Wuxi was quite a rich city back in the day, and this was one way to show the rest of China how prosperous its citizens were, is by using sugar and everything. Of course, how could I forget the ubiquitous garlic fried shrimp? There was so much garlic on it. I mean, I'm a big fan of garlic, but this blew my mind. There was scallion again, as usual, garlic, and a bunch of shrimp on a cast iron skillet. And I believe it was put in the oven for a while and came sizzling hot to our table. And this wasn't the only place that I had this, by the way. This was a staple dish in most restaurants, and I'm glad it was, because this is extremely delicious. And to round off this incredible culinary experience that I was having in China, my colleagues and I one evening went to a traditional, slightly fancy Japanese izakaya. Now Wuxi has a big Korean and Japanese expat population, so both of these foreign cuisines are very well developed here. And in this izakaya, I probably tried most things in the sea, most things that we call seafood. I mean, look at this menu. I kid you not, I think we ordered like 90% of the things that you see on these pages. And a nice bottle of soju to go with it. First thing that got presented to us was this black garlic. Now, Wikipedia describes its taste as syrupy and sweet with hints of balsamic vinegar or tamarind. Now, I didn't get any of that, none of these sophisticated notes. Maybe it was mental, the look of this almost charred bulb of garlic kind of put me off. But once you start chewing it, it's actually quite creamy, and perhaps tamarind comes closest to describing the taste. Very unique. And then of course all the sashimi you could imagine. There was white fish, there was salmon, there was sea urchin that I tried for the first time. And there was this very interesting like pieces of fish, of silver fish with a roe still attached to them, green roe. Very interesting, it pops in your mouth with this, the flavor of the sea. And then things just kept coming. There was crab, there was prawns. And once all of that had been consumed, of course, we needed a palate cleanser. And for the first time in my life, I got coerced into trying grilled cow tongue. Yeah, grilled cow tongue. It was a very interesting experience. Very meaty, and you can feel the different textures of the layer of skin on top of the tongue and the meat on the inside of the tongue. That was slightly off-putting, but, well, if you can get past the texture and the slightly gamey smell, it's a great meaty dish. It's just like any other beef piece that you can think of, and a great accompaniment to the soju and the liters of beer that were being consumed there by all the guys. And then, to close off the meal, we were presented with this bowl of roasted, what looked like nuts. I later found out they were ginkgo nuts, nuts of the ginkgo biloba tree. And yeah, they were very interesting. I had never had anything like this before. They look like peanuts, but once you peel the shell, they have, and eat the insides, it has this almost gummy texture and a slightly bitter aftertaste. And that also paired well with the bowl of natto that each one of us got at the end of the meal. I mean, and whenever I see anything stringy, I can't help but take a slow motion video of it. Enjoy. So that concludes our tour of the eastern Chinese city of Wuxi. What a crazy experience. From getting scared on the first day at the incredible amount of fog I saw outside my window, to eating all this crazy food. Be it full of chilies or aromatic spices, it was all great. I mean, I also had a laugh at all the Chinglish that I saw around, all the translations of Chinese phrases in English, such as this one. They're all around, it's hilarious. To seeing bullfrogs and eels and tortoises just casually chilling in a supermarket bin. Overall, it was weird, it was wonderful, and I can't wait to go back. And you should definitely visit China if you get the chance. Hey, so if you liked this video, this travel vlog, drop a like, subscribe, and share this video around. And stay tuned for the next episode that's going to be on my adventures in Shanghai.